So, how do I want to broach this subject? This is actually really fucking vile. A couple of you are gonna get mad at the internet. So, I'll just read this at first. This is from RMTF. Oh my god, I'm breastfeeding my daughter. I've been working with a lactation consultant and my general practitioner for several months now to induce lactation. And in this last month have started to actually produce some milk. But it still doesn't feel real. My wife gave birth on Thursday, and we finally had a chance to come home from the hospital and sleep. And actually compose myself, but for the last few days, our daughter has been latching to and feeding from both of us. I'm so excited. There was a part of me that was irrationally afraid that the baby would reject me for not being her real mom, and I'm so glad to see that little voice proven wrong. So this is a picture of a male to female transsexual with artificially hormone-induced lactation breastfeeding a newborn infant. Here's a second one. This is just natural breastfeeding from a real woman, according to YouTube. So nothing wrong with me showing this, right? Cyber Taylor asks or says technological advancement is a blessing. And these are all these deleted transphobic shit. All the red posts are deleted stuff. Women are told to be cautious taking aspirin when breastfeeding, yet y'all are applauding someone being pumped with synthetic chemicals to induce lactation is beyond appalling. Look at this. This person is, for whatever reason, falsely conflating medication and life-saving hormones. These trans folks need their hormones to induce lactation. They don't need aspirin. Women don't need aspirin when they're pregnant. They don't need aspirin. They don't need caffeine. They don't need anything like that. But these are life-saving hormones. This other turf cunt down here says, right, it's ridiculous that there's no concern for the child here and that people who aren't even being vile or transphobic get downvoted for asking genuine questions. It's obvious OP cares more about their own comfort and fulfillment than the baby. And this got negative 10 points because obviously it's concern trolling. She says, people who aren't being transphobic, but this is clearly transphobic because she does not care about the baby or the comfort and fulfillment more than the baby. This person says, okay, I know you don't like saying, my God, you're so brave, but this is genuinely brave. Some people are not going to like this. But you know what? As long as your kid is happy and healthy, you're doing a great job, and all the haters can go fly a kite. Congratulations to you and your wife. They say, yeah, I've been getting a lot of hate comments and DMs from this, but not fun, but they can pound sand. I might be dyslexic. I should get tested. Okay, this is the great post. Adi Shakti says, congratulations, that's so beautiful. I hope to do the same for my own future children one day. Just wondering, have your doctor and the other people that you're working with test for any nutritional differences between your milk and what is typical, quote unquote, typical for a cis woman? Just something I'm curious about, especially since I would want to make sure that my baby gets everything they need from my own breast. Admiral Fisticups, the OP, replies, there are no nutritional differences. The same hormones cause the same processes. The only difference is that because I started HRT at 25, I have less memory tissue, so I'll make less milk. This post was removed within 11 seconds, and this post saying, stop lying, was deleted. Vodka with Coke says, oh my God, that's absolutely amazing. So, this got posted on Evil Turf Twitter. Charlotte says, this poor child, this is an experiment on an infant who cannot consent. This is abuse for validation, and it's disgusting. Now, there is concerns about this because the hormone that they are using to induce lactation, I think it's called progesterone. I could be wrong. I think that's the general HRT medication. It's probably somewhere in this, but it's illegal. It's not legal in the United States to import this drug. It's not approved by the FDA. I think it's approved for use in cattle, I could be wrong even about that. It's generally not allowed for people to take this medication. Domperidone, not allowed. Not permitted by the FDA. So he's illegally importing this to induce lactation by self-prescribing his own dosage. And in response to concerns that he might be arrested for this, says, thankfully, I live in a very progressive area, and the staff at the hospital was mostly just thrilled that I was an excited, involved, and supportive partner to my wife. And I think side effects for it include, like, heart attack. Oh, here, how about this post? An evil turfy bitch says, what in the Handmaid's Tale is this? This baby is getting no nutritional value from this. D is for delightful, says, fuck off turf. OP literally has an entire team of doctors that know what they're doing. Take your bullshit somewhere else. The turf replies, are you kidding? This is literal child abuse. What is wrong with you all? I'm all for people living their true selves, but this is not right. There's no way that this is safe or healthy for the baby. D is for a delightful response saying, please explain in detail how her breast milk is different from any cis woman's. Cite your sources, go into detail, give me actual scientific evidence. As a med student, I'm absolutely fascinated to hear you explain the difference. Do you think there's a bad, evil XY magic in the milk? And 123 cheese, negative 3 points, deleted, replies saying, retired physician Dr. Maja Bowen says she had several concerns about the practice. What comes out of a man's nipple is not mother's milk, but a watery substance devoid of antibodies and nutrients that are found in a mother's milk, the composition of which changes as the baby grows up, which is true. The hormones that cause lactation actually change after a baby is born, and the baby gets a different composition of nutrients and stuff in the milk as in the months following birth. So, and I know that because I grew up around women. But when you just like shoot cow hormones into your eyeball and you say I'm a real woman now, you're not getting those finely tuned evolutionary signals to induce lactation like a woman does. Dr. Bowen says that the few previous studies done on trans-identified males who have induced lactation show a paucity of evidence the discharge is nutritious or equivalent of a mother's breast milk. Men are not women or mothers. They are not designed to breastfeed. So the question is, why is this man doing this when the baby has a mother and access to both actual breast milk and formula? Dr. Bowen also notes that there are questions about the man's intentions. Well, there are rights to be concerned about intentions, because in this person's blog, so this is the breastfeeder's blog, or actually no, I thought that this was this person, but it's not, because this is too recent. This is from 2017. Oh, it is the same person. Okay, no, okay, I have this right. It's in my notes. This is the same person. It's just from previous. Issue 2017 from the author of The Breastfeeder. My first time breastfeeding my daughter. Breastfeeding is freaky. Not the sucking bit, you're reading The Stranger, so odds are you've had a titty sucked at some point in your life. No, it's because when my baby attached to my breast, there was an incredible chemical cascade that ran through my entire body like lightning. Imagine the most electric thing a partner has ever done to you, then multiply it by 10. I could feel my brain rewiring, creating pathways that would permanently connect me to my child. And yeah, I kind of got off on it, don't judge. So literally, explicitly, sexually arousing to have the infant latch to the male breast and derive watery, non-nutritious, non-immuno-beneficial liquid from them. And actually, you know what? I'll read it all. Fuck it. I've not read this entire thing, but let me get a sip of water. I want to tell you the story of the first time I breastfed my daughter, but in order to tell you that story, I'll have to take a step back a bit. I met my wife 2.5 years ago and 2,700 miles ago in Virginia. We raced from let's keep this casual to let's get married, have kids, and move to Seattle in about 10 months. At almost 40, we knew we couldn't wait too long. Also, clearly, waiting wasn't our strong suit. So within a year of landing in Seattle, my wife was pregnant with our first child. Once you're pregnant, or in our case, well before, you start obsessing over all the ways you can fail at being a parent. Take breastfeeding. Everyone says breast is the best. Figuring 4 boobs were better than 2, With me being unable to contribute to the physical burden of having our child by carrying her, I started looking for ways I could get more active helping with breastfeeding. We eventually discovered the Newman Goldfarb, and for whatever reason, my browser has glitched out on the name Goldfarb. The Newman Goldfarb protocol. So it's named after Goldfarb, which has allowed non-gestational parents to produce milk. One obstacle down. Oh, also, I'm transgender. Yeah, we know. We figured that out. There's a weird but surprisingly common notion that trans women breasts aren't quote-unquote real. We all know that's not true, chat. Come on. When I told people about my plan to breastfeed, the most common reaction from both lay people and medical professionals was, "Wait, you can do that?" But had I not mammary glands? If you filled me with prolactin, would I not leak? Ew. We started the protocol in earnest under the guidance of a queer lactation consultant because Seattle. And a week before my partner was due, I was happily pumping more than 1 ounce. I'm gonna gag. I feel it in my throat, like when you're drunk or something and you're like having to suppress throwing up. This is actually fucking nauseating. I used to joke that my transition was a success when my dysphoria was replaced with the standard issue body hate that comes with being a woman. Nobody hates women more than a transgender male to female. Nobody has a lower opinion of what it is to be a woman than a male or female. Nick Fuentes lives in the fucking shadow of the misogyny that is harbored in a Tim. Fucking nuts. How can you write that? We're constantly told that our primary value as women is decorative, that failing to be attractive is the worst crime we can commit, but our bodies aren't just decorative, they're functional, and we can seek validation in that function too. That's so telling. If I can't be attractive, I can just abduct an infant and breastfeed it, and that'll make me a woman. This is insanity. I don't know how people can root for this. How does a woman read this shit and think anything except like the kind of primal fear that you get in the caveman part of your brain that hears like a bear outside his tent? Like how do you avoid that feeling? Lactating changed how I saw my body. Having breasts was great, but using them to feed another human being, that was magic. Specifically, it was mom magic. I might have been my daughter's sperm donor, but breasts, oh my God. This is fucking psychotic. This is nuts. I wasn't prepared for this. It's really dense too, like in the crazy. I might have been my daughter's sperm donor, but breastfeeding was how I knew I was going to be a mom. It validated my womanhood as much as any surgery ever could. So cut to the happy ending. My wife gives birth. We come home from the hospital. We trade off breastfeeding duties. Everyone gets enough sleep, and the three of us live happily ever after. Haha. Here's what actually happened. I got sick a week before the due date and had to discontinue the protocol. The baby didn't come on schedule, so we induced 2 days later, followed by a grueling 3-day labor that ended in an emergency C-section. Wow, who would have thought that this natural, healthy way of bringing a life into the world would go awry? At that point, I had gone from producing an ounce of milk to only a cubic centimeter or two. And my partner's milk was going to take days to come in. The lactation consultants in the hospital were uninformed and singularly uncooperative. Yeah, every single person was fucking disgusted at the Frankenstein project that was unfolding in front of them. We had to start supplementing with formula. A few weeks later, we both gave up on breastfeeding and switched to formula completely. So if our plan was an abject failure, why am I gushing about breastfeeding? Because when they pulled my daughter free of my wife's body, I was the first one to hold her. I took her back to the hospital room and did what any mom would do. The first thing, literally rips that sucker out of the fucking, the vagumba, takes him into the back room and says, suck on it. Suck on my breast, infant. 1 minute old infant, suck. And that tiny, perfect creature latched onto me and got what sustenance my body could provide and was content. I was in that moment sitting in the hospital room nursing my newborn daughter for the first time, and then I became a mom. The moment created an unbreakable bond that will last us for the rest of our lives. And yeah, that it took so little to do was, in retrospect, freaky as hell. The failure of the breastfeeding plan my wife and I had so carefully constructed was disappointed, but I'll never say for even a moment that I regret any of it. Celine Habiki says, that's so amazing. That's something I've been secretly hoping to do one day. Congratulations. Let me know if you have any questions. And this is the anime avatar's asking for tips. Oh. Okay, chat. There's... Oh, fuck, I already ruined it by showing pictures. I guess I guess I have no choice. I have to just break it out. Chat. Guess what? Guess what, chat? Think of it like an ethnicity. I was born Jewish and will always be ethnically Jewish even if I don't practice or identify as such. Now, of course, I love Israel more than anyone north of the Mediterranean, right? So this is a great accomplishment for the Jewish people, including the gold, whatever the fuck protocol, gold farb protocol. It's just an all-around success that we have planted in the minds of retarded people in the West. Okay. That's the end of that story. I hope you all have enjoyed. Like I said, the real danger with it is that you have a drug, which is not allowed in the U.S. because it causes heart complications. And they're taking it, and then because the breasts don't produce any actual nutritional value, it's just going to contain the drug. It's going to contain the hormones. And then you're feeding hormones that cause health complications to a 1-minute-old child the second that it's born. You're force feeding it this concoction, and that's the real harm. All the disgusting things set aside. This is like the innate fear that we have, or rather the innate complications that exist for this. James for $1 says, I want to thank you, Josh, for all your content. I was watching an old Maddie where you mentioned coding as a career path. I started coding, and I'm currently on the front-end dev career path. Well, congratulations on your transition, and I hope you well in your breastfeeding. Your breastfeeding in the future. No, but seriously, good luck. Don't get fired for saying the N-word. And make a lot of money so you can financially support my horrific website. But Boyum says, sweet honey child, you know nothing about my quad sack kitty guzzlers. Sweet honey child, you know nothing about my quad sack kitty. oh, like 4 boobs. Okay, I got you. I'm glad to not know anything about that, to be honest with you.